Good evening, Toon Review fans all over the world, and welcome to yet another transfer show. Apologies, last night we were going to do the fan forum, but unfortunately, family called and we were unable to do it. It'll be back next week, of course, in the build-up to the Manchester United game, which is kind of a big game. I don't know whether anybody's noticed that, but it is kind of a huge game next week against Man United. England, of course, play tomorrow night. I'm debating whether to do a watch-along for that because it is in Italy, and I think it could be a very interesting game. I know, Alex, you were a very big England fan, so we'll not say anything, too drastic against old England tonight, but we'll see what kind of team he puts out, and then we'll go from there. Let's just go through a few comments from around 8:30 when the show started. Hang on a minute. Ken Robinson says, "Hi, guys. Just watched a young Cole play for Barnsley last night, turning the clock back. Amazing pace and scored a fab goal. Also spitting double of his dad. Really starts you wondering." Yeah, he's supposed to be quite a good player with a lot of pace as well. Spike, good evening to you. Scott says, "This is a transfer show. That Ferguson kid at Brighton looks old school number 9, just scored for Ireland." Roger Cook, good evening to you. Frau says, "Don't rate McTominay. If he cannot be a starter for Man United, how's he going to start for us?" I mean, Frau, really, you come in 3 minutes before the show even starts and mention his bloody name. Honestly, it was bad enough me having to put him on the bloody thumbnail, man. Julie J, good evening. Up the A1, good evening. Trolls, good evening to you. Seems we are in front position to buy Thuram, and please be true. Wes says McTominay is versatile in midfield, but I think he's very similar to Longstaff, unless he was just going to play more of the number 6 CDM role. Just my opinion. Roger says, "Do we bypass Scott McNobody tonight, even though it sounds like he is wanted?" Well, unfortunately, Scott McJockinair, whatever you want to call him, is on Alex's radar tonight. I will personally, when Alex puts the stats up for Scott McTominay, I will personally fall asleep because I am not interested one bit in that Mancunian twat. So that's just my thoughts on it. I don't want him, but, if he ends up in Newcastle, I guess I'll have to support him. Michael Johnson, good evening to you. I wonder if that's the 400-meter runner. I doubt it. George, evening, everyone. Shitting myself this week's test to see if I have Parkinson's and microvascular disease. George, you know what? Listen, it's not the end of the world, all right? Trust me. I know, speaking from experience, so if it's Parkinson's, mate, give me a shout, and I'll help you as much as I can, buddy. Trust me, although it took me a long time to get over that diagnosis, looking back, it's not the end of the world if you put your mind to something and try and just get on with things as best you can. Not easy, but you can do it. Geordie boy, good evening to you. Hope you're well. OB Bon Kenobi's in the house, probably off his face by the sound of things. Good evening to you. Trolls doesn't want a Man United player here at all. I will say to Man United players, stay where you are.
Obi Bon Kenobi, was that his name? Obi Bon Kenobi.
Obi Bon Kenobi, yes.
Was he in Return of the Red Eye?
Yeah, possibly so, Billy. Possibly so. The Friendly Fisherman's in the house. Good evening to you. Jackie Nicholson, good evening. James Welsh, Phil Gow, all our usual Rugrats are in the house. Wes says, we need to explore the European markets. League in France has proven well for finding a few hidden gems at a good price. I mean, we did that a few years ago, Billy, didn't we? We went into the French market. I believe under Pardew, we got some gems, but we also got some reet stinkers, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, Sissoko, I suppose, in the end was a good buy because we got a profit on him and we had a couple of good seasons on him. Debussy was a good player. We sold him for a profit too. But then again, you're looking at the people like Tovan and people like that not quite cut the mustard a day.
Yeah, I quite like Debussy, actually. I mean, was there any French guys that caught your eye, Alex, apart from the obvious ones? I know there was sort of, Remy Cabella for me was one that I just didn't think he got an opportunity.
Yeah, Cabella and Talvin were brilliant outside of these shores. I think Marvo was a little bit underrated. I think he got a lot more than people gave him credit for. I think he could have been something under a more technical manager that could have helped him. I think he had something. We didn't quite see it.
Who's the one whose brother played for West Ham? Who's the one that brother played for West Ham? We had his brother here. Morgan was the West Ham one. I can't think what the name of the one we had. What was his name? Morgan.
Amifilitano or something like that.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
He barely ever played, did he? I think he played a funny few.
I think he
played
very
much, Billy, for challenging me to that name very early on in the show.
That win at Man City in the League Cup, I think he played in that, didn't he? And Mehdi Abid played as well.
Mehdi Abid was another one who I thought was a decent player as well. Yeah.
Well, so we've had plenty, but he just didn't fulfill his potential, did he?
Yeah, we've had plenty, which so I don't think I'd be objective to go, into that market again. Michael Johnson says, "What's this I hear about club and name and club colours changing? Surely not." No, I think people have read it the wrong way. I think basically what's going to happen is they want the fans' input on anything that possibly changes in the future. They're not going to change the club name from Newcastle United. But club the way the colours are on the shirt, new designs and things like that is what they mean. If we change the club badge, for something different, I'd like to see us go back to the old badges. But whether I'm just being an old fart there, or whether that's a realistic thing, or whether we'll just see new designs coming out in the future. Trolls, thank you for your 50 Norwegian krona. No comment there, but thank you for your continued donations to the channel. Really do appreciate that, my friend. Roger says both two Rams seem to be something. Well, they are. That's because they are, Roger. But getting them both would be that would be quite a coup for Newcastle United, without a shadow of a doubt. Wes says, I think there will be room for development with him, and he's an international, albeit for Scotland. Wes, if you're talking about McJockney, please keep your thoughts to yourself. Alicia, good evening to you. Scott says, maybe we sign McTominay as backup right back as he plays there for Scotland. Interesting. I mean, he does have numerous positions, which I think Alex will obviously go through in due course. I'm just delaying it as long as I can, folks, because, Scott says he's got a good first name. Yes, fair enough. Let's not have any selfish players move in. Eddie's not that daft, thank God. Look, there's been quite a few people mentioned, and it's very interesting that the Scott McTominay one has developed, and it's certainly gained traction over the last 4 to 5 days. There's a lot of more media coming into this story and reporting it. So no smoke without fire, as they say, and it's from legitimate media outlets as well. It's not it's not the usual backstreet ones. It's so there is obviously something there, which frightens me to my inner core. But good evening, you beautiful people, says Pedro. TTR family mods and Paul, keep up the excellent work, guys. Best channel on YouTube. Come on, the boys. Thank you very much, Pedro. Wes says, yes, Turan brothers are good. Think they will both be in demand. Andrew says, good evening, TTR fam. I'd like to see us make a move for Balogun and Gvardiol. Yes. Balogun scored again, I believe, at the weekend.
Yeah. And Southgate didn't call him up.
Well,
he's going to get capped by the US national team, and we're going to lose him.
Well, I think he was in the England under 21 squad, and he's
pulled out of it, and he's not injured because he's annoyed he's not been capped. He's not been called up. He scored 17 goals.
I know.
It's more than Rashford scored. I don't care if it's in League One. It's more than Rashford scored. He should be called up. It's more than Kane scored as well. Regardless of league, it's just unfair.
Absolutely. Peter Dolan, thank you very much for your £50 super sticker. That is unbelievably kind, Peter. Thank you very, very much. Absolutely awesome. Thank you very much for your kindness. Guardiola, I think we've mentioned him in a show before, haven't we?
Yeah, a while ago, but I don't think we'll get him. He is like the next best thing. Like I think at the moment, him and Botman are my two favourite young centre backs. Guardiola is going to be an absolute superstar. He's one of those Croatian heavy hitters, absolutely ridiculous for his age, an absolute freak. He's got so much experience now in the Champions League, in the Bundesliga, and he played in the World Cup and did an excellent job for Croatia. Like he's going to be around for the next 15 years and be an absolute monster.
Yeah,
I think it might be a little bit early for us to get someone like him, though.
Yeah, indeed. James, I haven't lost my glasses. They're on my face. I'm right here. Sometimes we have to just discuss a couple of quick things before we start the show. Don't worry. Julie says there was someone I was going to ask Stato to take a look at who we were linked with, but I've forgotten. Well,
he's pretty good, Mr. Forgotten.
Mr. Forgotten. He's almost as good as him. James says, has anyone else seen the price that the bidders for Man United are paying? I don't give a monkey's arse about Manchester United. And I've stated that many times, and John Sinclair, with his Man United family outbursts on Twitter, and me and Rach wind him up by putting, that John is a red, and his Man United family come for us like sharks to meat. It is unbelievable. But I will say it, and I will reiterate it over and over again. I cannot stand Manchester United or anything to do with that football club. For many reasons, I just hate them, as do 99.9% of the Newcastle United fan base.
Apparently, the Qataris have put a world record bidding for a sports club. Although
it's something, yeah.
3.75 billion is the record for the Denver Broncos, I think. It's above that, but they want 7 billion for it. So whether it'll be enough or not, I don't know. But there's rumours that the Glazers don't really want to sell it. And hopefully it's true.
Baz, yes, you're correct. There was supposed to be a fan forum, or we mentioned a fan forum, but it didn't get scheduled because of family issues. We're not robots, mate. We do have problems where we do have family, and sometimes shows have to take a back seat. Jimmy says, how dare Loaded copy the TTR Friday trivia? I'm not happy about this.
Calm down.
Jordy Boy says, got to say Bruno was really enjoying the interaction with the crowd at the end of the Forest game, and Wilson too. Yeah, look, it's these idiots that keep coming out saying, that rumor that they put out the other day for Bruno going to Man City in exchange for £80 million plus Calvin Phillips. I mean, I've never heard as much tosh and bull rot in my life, Alex.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I'm not sure it's even worth talking about. That's ridiculous.
It's not. New Jersey Geordie, how we doing, Toon fan, with Her Majesty there with the Toon top on. I loved that when that came out. She was sitting on the throne, wasn't it? Literally the throne, with a Toon top on. It was brilliant. Yes, Billy, you must have seen it.
I've just had different connotations of sitting on the throne. That's all.
Well, I mean, yeah. Some people more than others. Sophia says, I love that opening music. Thank you very much. It's one of the only ones that we actually don't get done by copyright for, which is incredible. So we are, we're making progress. Soph, good evening. I've never seen your name before, Soph, so I hope you're well. Get yourself subscribed. I don't know what happened to my voice there, but it went all of a very funny tone. Wes says, haha, Jimmy, yes, they know a good thing when they see it. It should be copyrighted. TTR. KB, good evening. Hope you're well. They've called it Loaded Wednesday. Keith, good evening. Louise, good evening. Gary says, fan forum discussed badge change, strip change, but just a way of saying, is there interest? I think there's been interest, I think, since the takeover, really, on maybe changing the badge. Certainly it's been spoken about, but in a more positive way than actually, oh no, we're changing the badge kind of thing. It's I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, a new badge. I would be quite open to that. Billy, I don't know about you.
Yeah, all clubs do it. They change the badge from time to time. I'd be all for going for one of the older ones.
Yeah.
The 80s one was pretty cool. Bit retro for today, I guess. But the one before that, you know, the 70s one was a fantastic badge. If they're going to change the badge, let's have something that we all like and get behind.
You know what it is? I just love that. You know, the basic one that we wore early 80s, which was the
NUFC one,
NUF, and then the C curled underneath it and the magpie sitting underneath the C. I really did love that. Alex, you've just put somebody up for me to share. Is it whoever? Is it him?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So I'm
It's
getting a surprise. It's a curveball. Wow, there you go.
Who's he played for?
Turkish team.
I don't know. Should we get the copyright to him as well, Billy? Do you reckon we need to copyright all these players we're putting up tonight?
A few curveballs, yeah, definitely.
Honestly, I tell you what, the amount of photocopiers going around on YouTube is unbelievable, Billy. Anyway, Curtis says, anyone else here? Amanda Stavely has said we are buying 7 to 8 players in the summer. Look,
Where she said that?
I haven't heard that, to be honest. But Louise says Newcastle is bad. Well, look in the mirror and you'll see bad, Louise. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Yes. Darren says, good evening, guys. Looking forward to transfer show. Let's see what players Stato's been looking at. We have a new member, Ding Dong, Lee Waite. Welcome to Members Club, my friend. Thank you very much. And incidentally, either tomorrow, if I do a watch along, or probably TTR Friday, we'll have some members giveaways. I've got John Motson's book as well to give away to a member, which I think will be a fantastic read, given that John's now passed on to read about all his stories of commentary and things like that. So you'll be in the draw for that as well, Lee. Thank you very much. Chippers, good evening to you. Wow, all that person came up with was Newcastle is bad. Julie says, I'd rather we went for McAllister from Brighton rather than McTominay. I'd have to agree with that. Toon Gamer says, I hope Anderson plays more and proves himself to save us some money in the summer. Dr. Spoons, we are hanging to the left and a bit to the right, my friend. Will.i.am, well, didn't he play for Fulham at St James's Park earlier on in the season?
Got sent off somebody, yeah.
Yeah. Funny how a lot of the big players are seemingly injured. Hey, they're not, man. They'll be fit. You watch. Come Manchester United. John says, do you think Garan Kual would get a work permit if he continues with bit parts at Hearts and be able to play for us next season? Yes, I do. But it's not quite working out the way we wanted to at the moment, I'm afraid, up there. But this time yet in the season, you know, he's a young kid, new country, new league. Let's just not jump on his back straight away. Not sure what the situation is with him, whether, you know, he's getting legitimate opportunities. I don't know. By the way, Spacebar says Tovan is now playing in the Mexican league. Well, when he went back to France, his valuation skyrocketed, didn't he? Because he had a hell of a time at Marseille.
I think there was a season where he was valued at about 75 million.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Ashley, he says, what's your thoughts on Mason Mount? I do wish we'd be able to get Maddison finally sorted.
I think, didn't we do Mount on the last transfer show?
We did indeed.
So once you finish this one, go back and watch the last transfer show. If you go back and look through the live shows.
Absolutely. Toon Gamer says, remember Stefan Givosh? No. Shamrock, good evening to you. Hope you're well. Right, who is this curveball, Alex? Just give me, I'll let you get onto the right screen first because you're not on the right one.
There we go. That's the one.
Well, I can't even read that. So here we go. It is, ladies and gentlemen. My God. Ferdi Kadioglu.
There we go. That was all right. Ferdi
Awesome.
Kadioglu.
Thank you very much. I'm here all week, guys.
So he's been linked a little bit.
Right, hang on, Billy. This is nothing. You know.
No. Go on, get me down the bottom.
I have to do that. Otherwise, people will complain that they can't read Alex's lips and see what he's saying. So, George Ricard, thank you for a £2 super sticker as well. Alex, take it away.
23-year-old fullback, primarily a right back, but he can play I mean, apparently he plays attacking midfield as well, which is hilarious. I will get to that. So he's from the Netherlands, but he has declared for Turkey, and I'll show you that when we look at his transfer marked. Extremely experienced for his age, 5'8". So he's this guy. I was a bit unsure, and the more I've looked at him, I've watched him play once. I really like him. At first, I was a bit unsure, and the more I look at it, I think this is a Trippier replacement, or a more technical fullback that can do what Trippier does potentially. Not quite the same sort of style. So 2,000 minutes in the Turkish league this season. He's got nearly 500 minutes in the Europa League, so a very respectable level. And if we scroll down and have a look at his statistics, they are quite good. Of course. One of the issues are they comparing? They are. I think we've got the benefit because he's got Europa League minutes. I think it does compare him to proper clubs and not people outside the top 5 leagues. So really, really, really high progressive carries, extremely high to be fair, the 88th percentile. Touches in the attacking penalty area. Bearing in mind he's a fullback. That's pretty ridiculous. Non-penalty XG is very, very high. Shot creating actions as well is very, very high. It's easy to say he's a high tackling, young, athletic, dribbly fullback who is full of energy and is exactly what we could do with. Let's go down and have a look at his career. So, I mean, I don't know if Paul wants to have a go at pronouncing his Dutch club that he started at.
That is, I think it's pronounced NAC. It's not NEC, it's NSC, and that would be Nijmegen. Nijmegen. All right. Well, get on with it, Alex.
So you can see that they gradually bled him through into the first team. 19, 20 years old, he was making 8 and 6 starts, and now he's been thrown in. 21, 22 years old, he made 26 starts last season, 23 this year. He's nearly matched his minutes from last season, and we're only in March. So he's well and truly, growing up. And if we go and have a look at his actual SofaScore profile, this is what excited me after I watched him, because I actually watched him before I looked at his SofaScore profile. So let's put his value down as we always used to do, make him cheaper.
That makes a big difference.
So their last game, Alanyaspor against Fenerbahce. So if it wants to load, let's go up. So he started, they played a 4-4-2. Unfortunately, Jadon Oosterwolde got injured quite early on, and Kadioglu had to come across and play left back for most of this game, which is quite nice. It shows some versatility. And if we go back and have a look at how he did in this match, nice bright heat map. You can see where he moved to. Absolutely ridiculous in terms of 7 out of 9 ground duels. He drew 2 free kicks. He had 115 touches of the ball, which is something that we see when we view Trippier stats, because we give him so much responsibility. 90% pass accuracy is phenomenal again for a fullback. And 8 out of 10 long balls, attempted a few crosses. So some really, really, really promising stats here. I know it's only one game, but if you do go and have a look at, so he's got 2 Sevilla games here where he played in the Europa League. So he's not playing against scrubs. He's getting some good minutes in. So in this game, they lined up in a 3-4-3 wing backs, and he actually was the right wing back. So you can see here hugging the touchline quite a lot. Again, they're giving him a lot of responsibility with 77 touches. Again, hitting 90% pass accuracy yet again against a top side in Sevilla. Attempted 7 crosses, only got 1 of them. But again, they're using him. 6 out of 15 ground duels. Drew a couple of fouls. So it looks like this was a tougher test for him. It is a step up. It's a very competent La Liga side. But you can see what he's about as a player. If we go and have a look at his transfer marked, and we can scroll down, we can see that he's unfortunately contracted until June 2026. So he does have quite a fat contract, which is a bit meh, but it is what it is. Absolute brilliant pedigree, been with the Netherlands setup all the way through from under 16s before he declared for Turkey. So made an absolute ton of appearances for the Netherlands youth setup all the way up until the under 21s in 2018, and then is that 7 caps for Turkey? I think it is 7 caps for Turkey, so brilliant for a 23-year-old. Again, it seems to think he could play left back, right back, and attacking midfield. I don't know where he would have played attacking midfield. I haven't been able to find that. Well, I think you can check, but I haven't dug too deep. Yeah, I really like.
Are we officially linked with him on that website, Alex? Or
on Transfermarkt?
Yeah.
I don't.
No, we're not. It's normally down that right-hand
I
side.
think we are, but
doesn't look like anybody's linked with him.
I really like this player, and I would not be surprised whether he comes to us or not. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see him make an interesting move in the summer, because I think he's ready. I think he's ready for a move. Is it for the Premier League? Maybe, maybe not, but he's definitely ready for a step up because he looks like a great player. So I really like him.
Yeah.
So that's player number 1.
Yeah, he looks quite decent. A nice curveball for us. Billy, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he looks an excellent player, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In the mould of Trippier, like Alex says, and you know, when Trippier finds does hang his boots up or moves to another position or whatever he's going to do in the future, you know, it's the least kind of disruption you can make to the team by bringing in someone similar, the better.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody I wouldn't say no to. That's a certainty. Christus, how's your daughter doing, Paul? She's doing well. She's back at the hospital tomorrow for another checkup and an X-ray just to make sure everything's okay. But she's been back at school this week. She's had her put signed by literally everybody. And she just couldn't wait to get back to school to show everybody the cast that she had on. Mary says, Jimmy, I saw that, but to be honest, they have not got what TTR have, and that is you and Stato, Billy, and of course, Paul and the Dancing Cow. There you go. Spacebar doesn't want anything changed. Baz says, keep the flag. Badge. Paul, your voice went back to Kerry Katona there. Oh, no, I'm not doing that again. Ashley 80 says, as long as they don't put any green in the badge. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, is it a new badge, or is it to represent the Saudis as well, guys? I mean, I don't know what you reckon on that. Would there be green in the badge, Billy?
Who knows? I would hope not, but I imagine one of the strips will be green and white again, like this year's. I think that's a certainty. I think that's
well, it is. It hasn't done us any favors this season, has it? That
no.
Green strip really hasn't. Trolls wants to see 2 magpies on the badge. Makes more sense than seahorses. Yeah, where did the seahorses come from? Does anybody know? I mean,
I think it's a nod to the shipbuilding past. It's got to be in it, you know.
Right. Well, I do. I guess we all know who will know that, Billy, of course, and I expect a comment very soon from our moderator explaining where the seahorses came from. But yeah, 2 magpies would seem the same, and of course, 1 magpie for sorrow, 2 for joy. So 2 magpies would be very much wanted on the badge, not 1, because we had the 1 magpie on the badge, of course, early 80s, in which we were absolutely hoarse. So yeah. Let's get to Paul College. How would you pronounce that, Alex? You wouldn't say college, would you? Or would it be?
I'd say college.
College, okay. First time on this show. First time on Love This Show, North Cyprus from the Toon. Thank you, Paul. Get yourself subscribed, my friend. Trolls, the seahorses are a nod to our shipbuilding past. There you go, Billy.
I must have read it earlier.
Yeah, I don't know what Dele Alli's done to upset Ian, but clearly he has. Geordie Boy says, copyright Billy's jokes. Indeed. Jim says, new badge like Hartlepool Rugby Club, but instead of a hanging monkey, we should have Ashley.
Oof. Like your style, Jim, like your style.
Yes, yeah.
Need some strong rope for that job, though, wouldn't you?
Well, you would, Billy, indeed. In fact, you'd have to get chains like they use to keep the big ships like next to the dock. Something like that. New Jersey Geordie says, I think the Bruno leaving nonsense rumours are leaks from his agents to stir stuff up and get more money from the club. Happens here in the States all the time in the NFL. I don't think Bruno's like that, matey. If I'm openly honest, I think Bruno would be, yes, agents are there to promote their members and stuff like that. But look, Bruno's really happy here. And Bruno has come out and said, you know, from his own mouth, that he wants to stay. He wants to become a legend at this football club. So he's not going to make a fool of himself and go back on that. I really think he's a genuine guy. And he's got no reason. He's going to be massive at this football club. And he knows that. Just look at the passion in his face on Friday night when we won the game. That's not a guy who's interested in buggering off somewhere else, especially that skipyard down the road in Manchester. Joel says, okay, but wouldn't 2 magpies in the front and a shipyard in the back make more sense? Yeah, I think somewhere along the lines for the shipyard.
I mean, we can't have everything on it. We can't have magpies riding seahorses on the shipyard. We can't have everything.
Yeah, it would be impossible, wouldn't we? I mean, we'd have to obviously, once we get some headquarters, that would have to go on the shirt somewhere. It just
next to the camels.
Next to the camel. Indeed, we need camels. Camels need to be on the shirt. I'm going to get Susan to design a badge, right, and get camels and magpies in there somewhere, right, and then I'll email it off to Newcastle United and see if we get a reply. That would be quite funny, actually. Suzanne!
One big hump on the shirt. I've got one on mine, just below the neck and down to the waist.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't go wrong with a few Newcastle fans, really. Let's put it that way, would it? Did I miss the draw for the framed John Joe shirt? I heard Paul mention it before he went to Forest. We do have to give that away, actually. But I'm waiting until 18,000 because we're only 100 and odd away from 18,000. So as soon as we get to 18,000, that will be given away as well. And it also gives me time to save up for the shipping. So, yes, but I'm probably going to have to keep it to this country only because to send it Well, Alex, I'll tell you what, if we go global with it, right, we'll just throw it in your boot and you can go and deliver it wherever it goes.
It's all right if you're paying for the holiday.
I didn't say that either. You can throw it in the Alex Mobile.
TTR Postal Service.
Indeed. Sophia says that name is waiting for a Billy joke. I take it she meant that Ooster, whatever his face is.
I'm surprised nobody caught on to that.
Yeah, well, I did because I had a giggle to myself.
Oosterwolde.
Oosterwolde. I mean, we've had some special names on the Toon Review, haven't we? We really have. Over the time, we've had some very, very special names.
I mean, he's injured now, so we've got to be nice to him.
Who is?
Oosterwolde. He got injured.
Oh, I thought you meant smack him in the face.
I mean, he was top scorer in the third Bundesliga. I need to check up on him, don't I?
He's having a great season. Anthony says, will you be doing a channel meet and greet? It'd be great to meet you all to get your autographs. Who knows? Seems an obsession with the press linking us to Man U's cast-offs. Them days have gone. Don't need Nicky Butts and Ronnie Johnsons anymore.
Finn Luka Lakenmakers got the same amount of goals and assists as Callum Wilson has this season. Fair enough in a lower league, but even so.
I mean, could you imagine, Billy, right, if in the summer, right, suddenly we get up one morning and across the back of the Chronicle, the Journal, the Shields Gazette, etc., Newcastle go for Wonder German kid Lachenmacher. I mean, Alex would just be, he'd have to get his name on his shirt, wouldn't he? I mean,
you'd need 2 shirts to fit it on.
Well, you would. I mean, it would have to be in very small writing to get, yeah. John Noble's asking, do you think Elliot Anderson could become a striker under guidance from Eddie Howe?
Why? He looked fine in the left wing. What is people's obsession with changing everyone's position? Let's just try Nick Pope up front. Screw it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was really aggressive. That wasn't meant at you. That was a build-up of everyone just saying everyone should change position. Yeah. That was the best performance I've seen from him, and it was on the left wing. Let's keep him on the left wing.
Yeah.
Surely.
Tony says, how can you not pronounce...
Bridge too far.
Minge McGinn or whatever it is. Have you ever watched A Bridge Too Far? No. I don't give a shit. Naminjigan, love Paul's attempts. Thank you, Gary. That's what I'm going to know them from now on. I don't care. Mary Port Max says, my mate who's a Mackham bought a brand new Sunderland shirt, washed it, hung it on the clothesline, left it overnight. In the morning, it was on the ground and somebody had nicked the pegs. Brilliant. By the way, did you notice the Sunderland season ticket video was pulled?
Oh, God, it is so bad, isn't it?
Wow.
Horrific.
Everybody's been making memes of it, putting them in like really controversial points in history, and just that Muppet going, it's freaking terrible.
I mean, it's rotten. It just Crazy. Shamrock says Deep Blue Sea loaded Toon isn't a patch on Jaws the Toon review, says Shamrock. Never touch the badge, but a bit green is always mellow, says, well, Andrew, I know what you're saying, but I didn't want green in the badge. Irani Granny, good evening to you. The new badge is simply for marketing, not for Saudi, i.e. the Juve badge change. We have Bruno G. Thank you for your $4.99 super chat. People need to understand that Scott McTwatermay improves the squad for 30 million, which frees up money for someone for the first 11. 30 million pounds for Scott McTominay. Are you having a tin bath? Seriously? I mean, is that a wind up?
It's a lot of
why
money
would you get? Well, I know Man United will try and get that kind of money, but I think we'd be absolute monkey poo if we go and spend that kind of money on Scott McTominay.
Did somebody buy you a thesaurus yesterday?
Indeed. Why are you asking that?
Because you've got a lot of new ones. It's interesting.
Well, you know, it's a new mature me, Alex. You know, I don't shout and swear. I come out with more family-friendly words.
Twatane is the new mature you.
Minjmagun.
I'm only seeing what I listen. I can only read what I see on the screen, Billy, and that's what I saw. Seattle Geordie says seahorses are in the Newcastle crest. Please see the Civic Centre. Okay, fair enough. Rachel says definitely 2 magpies. Use my tattoo as a template. Tattoo. I need a Newcastle tattoo, you know. Roadblock says, hi, Rich. Hope you're well. Have I upset Paul somehow? Even when I have super chats or like tonight when I have a great big green milestone post, he just skips past me. I've never seen anything for your Roadblock. I haven't seen any super chat from you or any big green
milestone.
Did any Billy? Have you seen anything? Because I know you can see the comments, but I haven't seen anything.
I can go back and check
if you would, because I don't like to think that I've missed anybody's super chats or anything like that. But definitely not. Cushy makes a good point here and says the Toon Review badge only has 1 magpie. Yes, it does. I think that needs addressing. Suzanne. We need that sorting because I didn't really, to be honest, it's one for sorrow, isn't it? Christ. Anyway, never mind. Tom, here he is. The seahorses are from the city crest. They were bestowed to the city by Charles II following the Civil War to defend Newcastle in gratitude for being loyal to the crown. So there you go. I knew we'd get an answer from Tom. Well, there you go. James says the seahorses are a symbol from the 14th century in the coat of arms for the area. High Roadblock, milestones aren't usually read out. New members are, but not milestones. No, we don't get to see milestones, mate. If that's what it is, it doesn't come through on the streaming software we use. New ones do, but milestones don't, mate. And that's that. So you haven't upset me at all. Don't worry about that. We don't get to see milestones. I appreciate it. Listen, if you do get a milestone, put it up on the chat and let me know so I can read it out because I don't get to see them, mate, during the shows. That's down to YouTube. What we come through to, what comes through to the streaming software. I don't have the YouTube chat in front of me. I have what comes through from YouTube onto my streaming software. So if anybody gets milestones for membership, let me know straight away, guys, and I will read it out. Of course I will. Jabba Dabba Do one. Thank you for your £10 super chat. He says, it's my birthday Friday. I don't celebrate my birthday. Here, spread the joy. Actually, Jabba, you share your birthday with my little boy, Ben, who will be 11 on Friday. So there you go. Nice to know that somebody shares it with him. So definitely celebrate this time around. KB says, please don't change the badge. Jesus, I've had the present badge tattoo on my upper right arm. Christ. Yeah, well, I mean, look, badges can be tattooed on. You know, we will always change badges, but it's just historical meaning as well to the badges, isn't it? So
there's nothing in the chat as regards to milestone either.
No, I think he meant a milestone billion. That doesn't appear.
Yeah.
I don't get. We don't get to see them, unfortunately. Get Billy on the badge. Says one comment. Shamrock says seahorses, a few magpies, a shipyard, Daisy the cow, and Alan Shearer. Oh, I mean, can you imagine? It's Daisy the cow. You know what it is? I have missed Daisy. I mean, we should have had Daisy on the other night, but of course, I don't think. Keith. I mean, Keith Hackett. I mean, I don't know what he would have made of a dancing cow riding on a wrecking ball. But hey, you never know. But there you go.
Speaking of wrecking balls,
yes. Do we have to put him up, Alex?
Yes, yes, we do. I'm sorry. We have to talk about.
Oh, I was going to put some famous birthdays up for March 24th on Ben's birthday, but we'll do that afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's ruin everybody's evening with Scott McTominay. Let's just rip the plaster off. We've got to do it. So, I would say there's somewhere between 70, 80, 90% of people are against this. I will agree with everyone and say it's not my first choice, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate and look at, why we're being linked. What could be the reasons?
Yes, please try, Alex. I'm very interested to know. I don't think you're going to sway my opinion, but you never know.
So, 6'3.5", big, tall, strong, physical. It's something that once we get beyond Joe Linton in the midfield, we are lacking. This is somebody who's multi-positional, could do a job at fullback if absolutely required, but generally it's going to be in the defensive midfield or the centre-back role, which he's played many games of. Still is 26 years old, so is a good age. £60,000 per week. His wages are within our budget. I mean, it's greatly expected that we're going to increase our sort of wage. Well, it's not a cap, but the maximum we pay for it. So the contract is a bit of an issue, though, with expiring in June 2025 with an option for a further one. So again, off the bat, I feel like this is somebody that could be useful to the squad if it was for the right price. But the fact that he's in the peak, sort of a peak age, really, he's coming into his prime, and he's got a long contract or quite a few years left. That's going to be quite prohibitive. It's going to make the transfer fee quite prohibitive. It's going to make it quite high. But anyway, let's talk about him as a player. So 865 minutes in the Premier League with an appearance in the Europa League this season. And if we scroll down, it's not incredible.
It's bollocks. Look how bollocks that is, Alex. What you cannot say to me anything on them stats that are going to say to me, oh, wow, let's go and get McTominay. I'm sorry, but it's bollocks. Most of the players you put up on that screen are beautiful, green, like a spring meadow. Green everywhere, looking lovely, smelling perfect. And then you have to put that horse shit on the screen and say, Newcastle interested in this guy. It's a load of bollocks, but try and convince me otherwise, please.
I mean, in his defense, Sean Longstaff's profile looked a lot worse than this when we gave him a 3-year contract. Again, playing devil's advocate, and everybody threw him under the bus and said he was crap, he wasn't good enough. And we tried to look for the positives in Sean Longstaff. So upon receiving that contract, we looked at his pressures, which were in the 96th percentile. We looked at his overall technical ability and physicality and thought, could he become useful? And look where he is now. So there are things that are okay in this in terms of clearances and aerial duels won. He's competent defensively. I've always said, before we were linked, I've always said I think McTominay would be a much better centre-back than you would anywhere near the midfield. Touches in the attack and penalty area are quite nice for somebody who plays so far back, and take-ons is also quite high for somebody who plays positionally where he does. So Kev, on Twitter, Kev Lawson, who is a friend of mine, has done a thread on Scott McTominay. He shares my thoughts in that it's not his first choice.
And that's all it is, by the way. It's a thread. It's literally a cotton thread because there's not enough to put on a proper post.
So if you do want to read a little bit about it, I would go and have a look at Kev on Twitter. So it's effectively comparing...
Kev, but I'm not reading anything about him. I'm sorry.
So it's talking about his physicality, which we will show here. We'll go onto his SofaScore profile. So this is a recent game against Southampton, which, again, Casemiro, yet another red card because he's atrocious with his... just can't keep the studs down, can he? So they had a little bit of a reshuffle, and Weghorst went off and McTominay came on. Scattergun in terms of he was all over the place trying to cover multi areas of the pitch. They were a man down. He worked nice and hard, kept his pass accuracy nice and high. The duels were pretty incredible, to be fair, because Southampton are quite an aggressive team. 6 out of 8 ground duels, 3 out of 4 area duels. So phenomenal in terms of physicality in the middle. 4 tackles, 4 clearances.
Alex, I've got to pull you up on this, man. You're using far too bigger words, like unbelievable physicality. Like, I'm not having it.
I mean,
he's a streak of pea. He's got nothing on him.
I don't think Scott McTominay is a very well-rounded player. I would go as far as to say that Sean Longstaff, I think, now is definitely more rounded in terms of a midfielder. I think Longstaff can do more offensively, defensively, multi-positional, 100%. But I think McTominay, I was going to call him McToffenay then. That's not a player.
I think of a few words.
He does offer that added physicality. At 6'3.5", he is strong. He will. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. So if we look down the list of certain players we're going to lose or we're probably going to sell, in terms of improving the overall quality of the squad, Matty Longstaff is gone. He's not only is he had an ACL injury, his contract is up. I'm sure I think the club have come out and said they're gonna help him, but he's not going to stay and be in the first team. So that's somewhere that McTominay could play in Matty Longstaff's positions in the midfield. Paul Dummett's going to go. He's going to play as a centre-back, potentially. He's a centre-back. So, again, we're bringing in somebody that could play a position. Is McTominay better than Matty Longstaff and Dummett? Absolutely, yes. And then you've got the likes of Ryan Fraser and a bunch of other people leaving. So it's about improving the overall quality of the squad. Of course, so we're on the transfer market now. Of course, the problem is the price. There's been a lot of 30-odd million banded about, which I agree with you, Paul, is ludicrous. It's not good enough for what we would get, in my opinion, at all. If we could get McTominay for, let's pop him back on the. Actually, we'll stay on transfer marks just to show that he does have 36 caps for Scotland. So he's played a lot of Champions League, Europa. He's played a lot of Champions League, Europa League, and international minutes. He's experienced. He's been in that environment. He has won a trophy. He's been with them for a very long time. His middle name is Francis, which I'm just seeing now, which is quite, it is what it is.
That's my brother's middle name as well, actually, Alex. So be careful.
And if we go and have a look at his statistical similarities, we've got players on here, such as Amadou Onana, who obviously profile quite similar to
come
McTominay.
on, Alex. Musa Sissoko's on there.
So
I
know he's on there, but... Yeah, but we like Onana, so what?
Jeffrey Schlupp's on there. I mean, come on.
Charlie Pickle from Cremonese.
Charlie Pickle, yeah.
Charles Pickle.
We are Pickles on in this twat.
Yeah, so it's oh god, I'm losing all me. There we go.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, I'd rather read that than read Scott McTominay's stuff. But,
so again, if in Kev's thread, he was talking about the whole concept of Longstaff's done a job at 6 and can rotate, but it's not where he should be playing. Bruno should be playing further up. A signing like Scott McTominay would give us more depth in the centre-back position, and someone who could play in the 6. But I don't think he's good enough to be our first choice 6, the way we play and where we're going.
Look, 12 to 15 million quid, as the Devious Oranges put as well. I would be open to that. But
yeah, if we could get him in 12 to 15 as a squad player, I would say yes. If we want him in for 30 million as a first team player, Absolutely not. So it depends on the context.
Yeah. Jabba Dabba Do One, thank you very much for your £20 super chat. This is £20 for your son's birthday. That's really kind, mate. Thank you very much. I just keep hearing Alex, he's got in physicality, and I'm just like, my God. Billy, do you remember He-Man back in the day, Billy? Do you remember Skeletor?
Yeah.
He's the same kind of build as him.
This thing is that you watch him play for Man United week in, week out, and every time I've watched him, a bit like Fellaini used to be, he's a red card every game, I think, and he never gets them. As soon as he comes to Newcastle United, you can guarantee.
Oh, absolutely.
You can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Sorry, I've just seen one of the worst jokes in the history of jokes. Mary Portmag just heard in Saudi Arabia you can't watch the Flintstones because they don't like the cartoon, but in Abu Dhabi they do. Yeah, I've heard a different one like that actually finishes Abu Dhabi do, which is probably more funnier than that one. But thank you very much for your Christmas cracker joke. Steven says McTominay is terrible. Tom, come on, Man United are terrible with him and without Casemiro. Jordy says, what do people see in him? Honestly, he's shocking. Ian says we want to improve the squad from top, i.e. first choice players, not cast-offs from Man U who aren't as good as War. Sean, Stato, you need to do a comparison with Longstaff. That would be interesting.
I mean, they're similar, but Longstaff, I think, has got a better engine, is more technical, is more slight. And McTominay is well, just the opposite. More physicality, but he's a bit slower and less technical, and is a little bit more, hot-blooded in terms of nastier fouls, subject to worse cards. I'm not going to say anything about Longstaff because I'm not going to jinx it.
No. Bruno says, sorry, but you haven't a clue, lads. With Euro football next year, we need good, solid squad players, which McTominay is. Look.
I just said I'd take him as a squad player.
Yeah, we do have a clue. And I did say at the end, for 12 to 15 million pounds.
Clearly.
Yes, I'd rather, 12 to 15 million. I would probably say yes, but not for any more. Not for the 30 million pound that's been banded about. That's what I meant. 12 to 15 as a squad player. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But blowing
it's
any
definitely
more
worth,
on that,
before you type anything against us, let us finish the analysis before you destroy, because, we've given two bits of context for whether we would take him and in what situation.
Yeah.
I mean, historically, think of the dross we've signed from Manchester United. Oh. God, we've had some fucking terrible players from them. Obertan, Smith, to a lesser extent, but the only one
Nicky Butt did all right.
He captained us for a year.
I think Nicky Butt did all right for us.
Keith Gillespie's about the only decent one, and probably dear Alan Davis, of course, who
Danny Simpson.
Mental illness, didn't he?
Well, Danny Simpson didn't really play for Man United, did he? I mean, he wasn't.
No, I know, but
who was the other one? Who did we get?
Centre
backs. Ronnie Johnson.
I don't think he comes to Man United, did he?
No, but he was done by but he was a cast-off from Man United. Roadblock, thank you for your £10 super chat. I've got that one. He says, hi again. Sorry for the confusion, chaps. I was agreeing with you, Paul. Don't want McTominay. Don't want any Man U players ever, however good they are, or anything to do with Man U ever.
Tomlin's a good point now. Liam O'Brien, that was a good one for Man United as well.
Yes. Cena Mander and McDonald's apparently were after Ronald. No, that would be Chelsea, to be honest. I Like Coffee says, if Man United want to offload McTominay, there's a very good reason why. Man United, on the other hand, go for the likes of Sabitzer, Casemiro, Eriksen, who are obvious upgrades over him. Good point.
Yeah, but Casemiro was 70 million and was from a multi-Champions League winning side. And Eriksen was free. I'm pretty sure it's pretty safe to say we were in for Eriksen, and he chose Man United, which is just unfortunate. It is what it is.
Andrew says, mint viewing figures here for midweek, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got 850 at the minute. Please do hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We are so close to 18,000. Help us get there, guys. And of course, I will arrange for this. I'll take a picture of the John Joe frame thing, which Alex has been telling me to do for, I think, around 6 months now. I will get it done before the show tomorrow.
No, don't play for us.
Well, yeah, but it's historical now, Billy.
Oh God, I've just realised that you've left it so long. He's left.
Well, yeah, but it's now it's somebody who represented the club through a rather dull time. Did all right for us. It's a bit of history.
Next week we've got an Alan Hughes shirt for grab as well.
There's just no need for use. There isn't.
Have you still got your Emmanuel Riviere one?
No, I think I burnt that after the first game he played, to be honest. It's unless somebody wants a box of ash, you're quite welcome to it. Scott says, Alex, will you whack up Dybala's stats free in the summer, although wages be off the chain? He's not doing too well, Dybala, this season. No,
we've looked at Dybala 2 or 3 times on transfer shows in the past, a long time ago, but because obviously he went to Roma, so... why is he free? Did he only sign a 1-year deal?
I think so, yeah. I think he did. I think it was only a 1-year deal.
Weird.
Norvik says, sorry, Alex, you're flogging a dead horse.
Or donkey.
Fluging, apparently. It's not my choice either. If I was somehow part of the technical staff of the club, my vote would be no. So, you know.
Well, God says 30 million for McTominay. Didn't the Gooners pay only 15 million for Jorginho, who was miles better? Yeah, but people were complaining when we were linked with him.
Well, yeah, they were actually, which was a joke.
Bruno says Sir Alex rated him. That's good enough for me.
You also rated Phil Jones.
Yes, Sir Alex is 125 million years old now. You know, I mean, yes, maybe when he was a kid he rated him. God,
I mean, Louis Walsh rated Jedwood. Same country, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? But I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson was even in Manchester when Scott McTominay was there. Surely to God, he's been gone how long?
I don't think he was. No. But
it's probably part of the academy setup at that point.
Bill says, I think Scott would be a good buy for us. Seen him a lot, and he would improve the squad. Very aggressive, which is what I like.
I agree with that. I just don't want to pay 30 million for
that. Ross says he'd be the McTominator, as he'd destroy the quality of our midfield. Yeah. Ashington says buying rubbish from Man U is like picking something out the bin and then paying for it.
All right. We'll play 65 games next year, and we'll play Matt Ritchie in the 6. Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Just do that.
I'm happy with that, Alex.
We need more depth. I agree. If he's the first choice,
many more players, Alex, in this footballing world that we live in. There is many more players than Scott McTominay.
I agree.
Bruno says Sir Alex literally gave him his debut.
It's possible. He's 26 now, so if he gave him his debut at 17, 18 years old, 8 or 9 years ago.
17, 18, fair enough. 17, 18. He's grown up to be absolute garbage.
The players that Sir Alex Ferguson bought for his departure to try and stabilise the club absolutely failed. That ship sunk heavily because he didn't do the rebuild well enough. He knew that was going down the toilet very fast. So that's a weird point to make because
talking about weird points to make, Curtis makes one here. I mean, I'm just going to put it up on the screen. I'm not going to read it out, but I'll put it up on the screen. And I think he's going, I mean, really? I think it's a rather cynical view. I don't think I'd do that.
I wouldn't say that because we've been linked quite heavily with him. So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I was going to say something else, and I've completely forgotten now. But that threw me off. Damn it. LD says, if you keep having to say you are playing devil's advocate, you know what you really think and what we all think.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm not trying to defend his corner. I'm trying to give everybody all the angles.
But what you need to ask yourselves, right? What you need to ask yourselves is, if when Scott McTominay leaves Manchester United, right? Do you think the Man United fans are going to be sad to see him go?
I think I've got one at work next to me. He's pissing himself laughing over it.
Thank you.
You know, and talking of defending corners, that's about the only good thing he's good at.
Yeah. That's what you have to think about.
He gets a testimonial in 2 years if he stays there.
Oh, for God's sake, that's even bloody worse. Come on.
About 10 turn up to
it. Sophia says, who the hell is Charlie Pickle? Well, I mean...
McTominay's
he's as good as McTominay, whoever this Mr. Pickle is. I Like Coffee says, after the whole Lingard pursuit last year, I maintain that we should not do business with Man United. I agree 100%.
That's fair.
But I'm pleased we didn't get Lingard because I think that was also going to be a disaster, seeing how his Forest career's gone. Jackie pipes up with ASM will be gone in the summer. I think that's just to wind you up, Alex, to be honest. Lee says, it looks like Paul and Billy have fallen asleep when Alex is talking about McTominay. Well, us and thousands of other people hear his name, and it's like you hear it's like you hear the word snooker or cricket. Or golf. It just makes you want to fall. You think, I'll put that on to fall asleep to. Anyway, I'm sure I've just upset a lot of golfers, but I do apologise. Craig says, Man United aren't going to sell players to us that would strengthen us, so any players they're willing to sell to us, tell us they're dollop. Absolutely. You're not going to sell good players to us to make us stronger. They'll sell us a pile of poo like him, and, he's as much use as a butt plug in a horse, right? Tom says, I'm not saying he's a world beater. I can't believe I just said that. But anyway, I'm not saying he's a world beater. I prefer Longstaff, by the way, but would bolster the midfield as a squad player, but only at the right price.
I mean, a
squad player fine at the right price. Well, yeah, but the right price. Dopey Chris, that's not Dopey Chris who was mentioned before, was it? In the shout out that we had to give the other day, I think it is, isn't it?
No, that was Scruffy Mick, wasn't it?
Scruffy somewhere. Yeah. But we've got a Dopey Chris now. Catching the end of the stream to see if it can cheer me up. Just been to a celibacy party and it was absolute rubbish. No one came. Oh, dear God. Oh, they get worse, man. Stephen says, Bruno G. McTominay is not good enough for a competitive European squad, so I agree with the panel. And Chippers. you know it's come to something when he's got to finish it. And
to be fair, though, McTominay is good enough for a European squad because he's in United.
What are you talking about? Man United are literally still in their European competition, and he's been part of that European squad. He's been playing the European minutes.
Yeah.
That is literally as wrong as you could be with that statement. That is...
Yes. It is, but however...
I'm not saying I like him. It's still a no, but he is currently playing for Man United in Europe, and they are still in Europe and doing quite well.
Jordi O'Eman says, it's not his ability for me, it's more his character. So many times I've watched him trying to crock players.
Yeah,
he's a risk.
Won't get away with it for us, certain.
Yeah, Clarky says, we will no doubt sign 2 or 3 players we've never even mentioned, and they will be 10 times better than what we have. Totally agree. That's typical of Newcastle. They'll probably bring in some players that we haven't even mentioned. They'll be working on that constantly. And I do believe Amanda when she says we're going to try and win things, and to do that we need to sign players, which is basically obvious. Samsonite says there's about 20 to 30 cheaper younger midfield players I'd rather have just off the top of my head. Well, they must weigh you down, Samsonite, if they're on the top of your head, mate. That's terrible. I'll move on. Crab People 3. Where do people come up with these usernames? Dybala is not free in the summer, but has a €12 million release clause to non-Italian clubs. Well,
I feel like I've
12 million.
We've talked about him 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, 12 million. I'd take Dybala any day of the week, to be honest, whether he's had a good season or not.
He's still only 29. God.
New
Contract
Jersey
expires June 2025.
All right. Well, he's got a release clause, so there you go. New Jersey Geordie says, butt plugging a horse made me spit my water out. Okay.
Horse probably did as well.
Was that Alex cracking a joke there, Billy?
It's a good one as well.
Aye. Ian says, nothing wrong with snooker and cricket, Paul. Well, to you, Ian, that is fair enough. Tom says, damn right, Paul. Cricket and golf are amongst the worst sports. Tennis. Wow. I love the way he still calls American football gridiron and baseball. Gridiron. Wow. I know it used to be called gridiron. I used to collect the little American football helmets back in the day. I used to get them in a pack of bubble gum. And it was like gridiron bubble gum, crazy stuff. Ross said he'd rather have Daisy the cow than McTominay. Andrew saying, is Alex really Sinclair with a beard? What are you talking about, McTominay? Dear me. Anyway, Louis says, would you rather splash £60 million on Diaby or 40 to 50 on Matoma from Brighton?
I'd spend $1 million on Diaby myself.
Yeah, Diaby looks
for as good as Matoma is. For as good as Matoma is, it's one season, whereas Diaby's done it for 4 or 5, hasn't he?
It's half a season, isn't it? Well, just over half a season because we had the World Cup break. So
yeah,
there's a lot more like data to look at for Diaby and more games he's played. He's done it consistently. So
indeed. Billy, Alex has got one more player. Are you all right to stop on, or do you want to?
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
You sure?
Yeah,
I know you're up early in the morning. Right, here is the final player of tonight's show. Oh my God, it's seriously, what are you trying to do to me tonight?
I mean, you enjoyed the last time we had him on a transfer show.
Yes, but I've also seen him since last time we mentioned him in a transfer show, and things are a lot different now, Alex.
Yeah, so I think. All right, so for people who don't know who this is, I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, so we were heavily linked with Lodi for a long time. And it never materialized, and he ended up somehow being one of the 400 players that went to Forest at the end of the summer. He is friends. He is literally IRL friends with Bruno. He does know a lot of the lads. He's capped for Brazil, was good for Atletico, but has had quite hot and cold form for Forest. There are games in which he is an absolute beast, and there are other games where he looks out of his depth. Obviously, we will have all seen him play against us on Friday. I don't think he did too bad, to be completely honest. I think he was okay. You've got to also credit. You've got to understand how good Isak is. Isak is a freak. He is like one of the next best in that age bracket. So Lodi had his work out, but he did a few good things. So 1,500 minutes for Forest this season. He's not as young as I remember in my own head. He's nearly 25, so he's very much sort of not a youngster anymore. But 60,000 per week wages is doable. Contract expires. I'm not sure if that's just with Forest though. Let's check. Contract expires for Atletico in 2026, but they do have an option to buy at Forest. So this might be tricky. If there's anything real in this link, it could be tricky. So let's scroll down. He is also a left-footed left back, which is we need one of them because we're about to lose Richie. As much as Richie is not a left back, this used to be lots of green. It's not anymore. I'm not quite sure what's happened. He's had a real torrid time statistically, so it seems. Progressive passes is non-existent in the bottom one for like first percentile. But there are some nice parts to this in terms of his output.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at the players that he's in the same band with. I mean, you don't know anybody bar Mikalenko.
No, Tyreek Mitchell is very, very competent.
If you say.
English international.
He got capped.
Yeah, he got capped. He's never been seen again.
He's a Palace player who got capped for England. I mean, that's all right. I'm
sorry, I've just seen Jordy Howe man says, I'd rather have Bill Oddie. Brilliant. Oh, dear.
But you can see in the underlying stuff here, you can see successful take-ons is high. His defensive output's nice and high. He's energetic. There's definitely he's in there somewhere. This just this is based on the last 2,000 minutes he's played. So pretty much all of his Forest games, plus a bit more. I think he can be a lot better than this. I've seen him be a lot better than this. Let's have a look at his career. So yeah. He, again, not a youngster anymore. How many seasons have we got? Three full seasons for Atletico, 28, 11, and 13 appearances.
He did actually play with Bruno at Paranesi, by the way.
Well, there we go. That's why they are friends.
And Kieran Trippier at Atletico, of course.
Indeed.
Yeah, so this is why this kind of link has a bit more traction and is more believable. So let's go and have a look so he's got a bunch of games here. He's putting in consistent high sixes, and then he dropped off a little bit. It's not great. He's not doing as well as I think he could. You've got to also give him the benefit of the doubt in the sense that he's playing in a weaker team in the league.
He's playing with Jack Colback and Chris Wood.
Exactly. So when you're overlapping Colback, when you wide cover his Colback, anybody's going to struggle, let's be honest. So it could be an issue with quality around him as well. So I've tried to pull out a good game for him to see what he's still capable of. So this was the 2-2 draw against Everton from the 5th of March. And if we go and have a look, he's put in some tidy numbers here. Nice, attractive heat map. 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 5 tackles. So he's put in a huge amount of defensive work. 12 out of 13 ground duels and won his only aerial duel. And won 4 free kicks. So this is phenomenal in terms of physicality and defensive stuff. Brilliant output there. 65 touches with a 91% pass accuracy is really, really solid. Again, key pass, 1 cross, a couple of long balls. And 3 successful dribbles as well. This is a Brazilian fullback right here. The problem is consistency. Whether it's him specifically or a bit of Nottingham Forest or a combination of the two, I couldn't tell you. But I do think there is a great player still in this guy.
Alex, you're getting pelters, mate. People are even saying, "Is Alex having a Conte tonight, deliberately trying to get sacked from the Toon review?"
Look. At the end of the day,
I'm not done yet. It's where's that other? Rogers is another Alex who looks average at best, not good enough. Ian says, "Who's next, Alex? Has your nan got a left foot? Does she get more assists?"
I mean, she's dead, so she definitely wouldn't.
And by the way, Louis Shepherd, welcome to Members Club. He actually put a comment in a bit later than that, saying he thought he'd been a member all the time until he realised his name wasn't in green. So he thought he'd bought membership months ago, but he hadn't. But welcome to Members Club, matey. Nice to have you in there. You're very welcome. Interesting, Alex. I'll say we've had a very, very interesting look.
Can I just end that, just so I don't get absolutely destroyed?
Please.
So yeah, from what you've just said about a few comments, yeah, I'm aware there are better options out there. We're looking at him because he's linked. I'm not saying this. I'm not putting him on screen because this is my choice. He's linked.
No,
that's why
he's linked. Yeah, that's what we do on the show.
Him.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But again, I think he's had a poor time with Forest, but I think there are glimpses of what we saw potential-wise when he was at Atletico. There is a great fullback in there somewhere. He's just really struggling at the moment. Yeah. But again, I think that time's passed. It's going to be really complicated contractually, and I think we should just probably go somewhere else.
Ash says that Lodi is a talented player. I don't get this. Let's cut the snobbery a bit. Listen, as much as we jest, right? Alex is right. These players have been linked. And that's what we do on this transfer show. We just look at players that are linked in the media. We're not saying it's going to happen. We're not saying they're going to sign for Newcastle. We're just talking about the links to the club and what they might bring to Newcastle United. So, although he's having a rough time in Nottingham Forest, he could come to us and just be a completely different player.
Another point is depth of fullbacks. Do we think Lodi is better than the rest of the fullback depth we've got? I think so. Is he better than Dummett? Hell yeah.
As it stands now, absolutely.
So.
Yes.
Like he's better than Richie's contract expiring. He's better than Lewis. He's better than Manquillo. He's better than Dummett. Like, if we're going to judge it on squad
I
depth,
agree. Actually, but as it stands now, yes, he's probably
better than Lodi. Yes, but
yes, yeah. Overthinking underthinker says my nan's dead as well, but she's great in the box.
Christ almighty.
I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ.
Play for Cremonese.
Oh, dear me. James says, we all love you, Alex. Oh, my God. I'm not reading this out, but I'll put it on the screen. Peter, it's a classic.
Oh dear, that's some knee jerk. That is.
Dear me. John's backdoor says, "Great in the box. I'm dead. Cheers, you killed me." Well, you'll be good in the box shortly as well then. Honestly. Spacebar says, "Was that link courtesy from the Jamaican Observer?" Oh God. Some people have said they would rather have Jetro Willems back. Yeah, absolutely disgusting, by the way, what happened to him. Punched by one of his own fans. Disgraceful. I believe they are dealing with him, though, so that is good to know. Right, that is it for the transfer show for this Wednesday evening, guys. Thank you very much. Once again, absolutely fantastic viewing figures. It's all down to you guys out there. You know, you keep coming back and taking part in these shows. It's not just about us three on the screen. It's about you guys in the chat as well, taking part in the show. We go through as many comments as we can and read as many as we can out and make sure you feel part of the show. And that's what you guys are all about. So thank you very much for that. Thank you to the Super Chatters, new members as well. It is brilliant. Please hit that like button on your way out, of course. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Come and be part of the family on the Toon Review. And 18,000 will be just around the corner. Tomorrow is possibly going to be an England-Italy watch-along. So stay tuned. Well, if I do, you'll get a notification if you've hit the bell, or just keep an eye on socials and, of course, the channel itself. And we will let you know if that is going to happen. Thank you to the Mod Squad. You've been brilliant again. Thank you to Billy. Alex, you've had a Castore. It's been a really good show, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you very soon. But in the meantime, keep safe, keep smiling. Good night.
How are the lads and lasses?